My parents were whispering again and glancing over their shoulders to see if any of us were within earshot. Children have ways of encroaching on whispers, and we were constantly trying to hear what they were saying. We caught only bits here and there, but we knew something was wrong. Stressed, short-tempered and irritable, our parents were not their normal selves. We may have been short of food, but my father was always able to get cigarettes from the naffy shop. He smoked his whole life, but the frequency and intensity with which he smoked indicated his mood. It was now in crescendo. He was chain-smoking. There was an invisible atmosphere of fear in the house, like we were waiting for something unpleasant to happen. The weather didn't help. The summer of 1942 was stinking hot. Day after day, from a cloudless azure sky, the sun came blazing down. At the beginning of August, the hot Sirocco wind started blowing sand over the island from North Africa. There was dust and sand everywhere, in your hair, in your eyes, and in your food. It made us all grumpy. It was customary in that era to believe that by keeping children in the dark, they were protected. This much we knew from what we overheard. Hitler wouldn't give up on his goal of taking Malta or wiping it off the map. The island's dependence on getting food and other supplies sent in by sea was our weak point. If we had been more self-sufficient, things would have been different. Hitler was trying to starve us into submission. My parents didn't whisper so quietly in front of my brother Pat. He was 15 and nearly a man. They told him things they didn't tell us. Pat didn't pass everything on to us, but he became the link between the adults and the children. One day he told us that there was a target date of 31 August beyond which we could no longer survive and would have to surrender. He said that an invasion or surrender were both distinct possibilities. I was too young to understand the implications. My father said that my brothers needed to learn how to shoot a gun. It seemed like something all boys should do, particularly in a military family, so I didn't give it much thought. Dad arranged for Pat and Ed to have lessons twice a week at a firing range at St. George's Barracks, using service rifles. Ed's shoulder was bruised black and blue from the practice lessons until he learnt how to handle the recoil. One morning, I was helping Carrie, our housekeeper, to change the sheets on our beds when she asked me to go and get clean ones from the linen cupboard. I had to use a stepladder to reach the top shelf, and even then I stood on tiptoes. As I reached in for some pillowcases, I felt something cold and hard. It was a gun. As I took it out, I was surprised how much heavier it was than I'd imagined a gun would be. I was fascinated and turned it over in my hands, feeling the textured grip on the handle. I didn't know it at the time, but it was my father's service revolver, an Enfield No. 2 Mark I. I looked down the barrel, but couldn't see a bullet. I supposed it was empty, not thinking to look in the cylinder, where 6 bullets were loaded. I carefully put it back under the pillowcases. Pat came home from school and I waited until we were alone. "I found a gun," I said, somewhat proudly, uncertain as to whether or not he would be cross and want to tell on me. "Where?" "In the top of the linen cupboard, under the pillowcases," I replied. I was helping Carrie change the sheets. I thought he'd be intrigued and want to see it for himself, that we'd be co-conspirators in on a big secret. "Not so. I know all about it," said Pat, trying to act nonchalant. "Why didn't you tell me about it?" I asked. "Not allowed, can't say any more," he replied. This was not the co-conspiracy I had expected. Pat was clearly leaving me out of something, and I didn't like it. "What's it for?" I insisted. "What's it doing in the linen cupboard?" "Never you mind," said Pat. "Don't touch it. It's loaded." "Loaded?" I hadn't seen a bullet, but I had looked straight down the barrel. Thinking that it might have gone off made my legs go to jelly. "Tell me, I want to know," I said. Pat sighed, looked around to make sure we were alone. "If there's an invasion or we have to surrender, Dad's going to use it to shoot us all."